Remedy Entertainment have definitely made a name for themselves over the last few years for making really nice single-player experiences. Of course, many people, including myself, first come to terms with the developer with Alan Wake, and of course their very recent AAA release, Quantum Break, which of course came out for the Xbox One and Windows 10. And of course that they previously made Max Payne, and it seems they are spreading their wings a little bit and moving on to the uncharted waters of multiplayer. And this came from some comments from the creative director Sam Lake and the game director Michael Kusurinen, who talked about their future goals for the company, and here's what they had to say. Quote, as announced last July, we're busy working on Crossfire 2 story mode with Smilegate, as well as building something totally new with a second, as of yet unannounced, game project. This includes working on the long-term roadmap for Northlight, our proprietary game engine and tools. As an independent studio in the highly competitive games business, it is crucial to constantly evaluate and define our direction. We want to keep doing and improving what we do best: exciting stories, memorable characters, believable worlds, and cinematic action. Single-player experience has always been an important focus for us. At the same time, we want to challenge ourselves to find ways to also expand these elements to include cooperative multiplayer. We'll always strive to be the best storytellers we possibly can, and we want these stories to be shared and elevated through players' cooperation. We believe that a multiplayer experience combined with Remedy's unique world building provides an exceptional environment for that. We'll be building our Northlight technology and design step by step through multiple future projects towards this ambitious goal. So with that in mind, we've opened a position for a lead network programmer who will be at the centre of developing and shaping the multiplayer technology and features of Northlight. So it seems that they're not really thinking a competitive multiplayer game here, although perhaps that would be something they would at least consider in the future, but more a game that you can either play locally with your friends or, again, online, where you still play through a story, but it is a cooperative experience. Now, while this sounds really interesting, I would hope that there would be at least be an option for it to play it single player, as in with an AI partner. Of course, that can be a bit hit and miss, as Resident Evil 5 taught us, but if you get the AI and the partner right, I feel like it can be done well, but it is definitely a challenge to do so. But it is definitely an interesting sort of change for them. It seems they are still going to be focusing on story, still be focusing on characters and worlds, but also focusing on the element of cooperation between two people. And maybe they can play around with a bit of story there about that said cooperation, how these two people who, I'm just purely theorising here, but, perhaps these two people don't want to work together, they're not actually friends, they've kind of been thrown into this, or maybe they don't even like each other, but they have to work together to survive, and it's about how they kind of get past that, and perhaps even resolve their issues over the journey. Something like that could be really, really interesting. Or just in general, there is a lot of potential for this particular idea to be explored in interesting ways, and Remedy definitely do interesting ideas. I've really enjoyed Alan Wake. It was a good game and basically a love letter to Stephen King, which I definitely appreciated. And from what Paul has told me, Quantum Break is really interesting as well. I haven't played it yet myself since the PC version was a bit of a mess on launch, but we'll be playing it when it comes out on Steam. But they definitely don't do boring, so I'm very curious to seeing what they're actually working on, and hopefully we'll get a reveal soon, maybe next year at E3 or even before that. That would be nice, but maybe they're not too keen to reveal it yet, given that Quantum Break hasn't even been out that long, so we'll see. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on what you think Remedy should work on next. What ideas would you like to see them explore? What kind of games would you like to see them produce? I'd love to hear from you, and thank you very much for watching. As always, it is very appreciated. Your support does mean a great deal. I will see you next time.